Hi, and welcome to this month's market update. I'm joined by Casey Lowe, a member of our capital markets and asset allocation team. Welcome, Casey.
Great.
So this is the first video of the new year. Can you provide a summary of market performance over the 2019 calendar year?
Yes, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
So equity markets had a really strong year over the 2019 calendar year. Developed market equity performance was above 25%. Australian equity was slightly below that. And then if you look at emerging market equities, they did below that, but still at a respectable 18% or so. So equity market performance has been strong, but it has been a volatile year as well, largely driven by the trade cycle of escalation and de-escalation between US and China. But overall, the strong performance has been driven by central banks globally starting to ease again, and the agreement on a phase one trade policy between US and China in December also helped that too.
Yeah. So equity markets have done really well. What about the performance of other asset classes?
So if you look at the Australian dollar, it ended the year pretty much where it started. So it started at 71 cents, ended at 70 cents, depreciated slightly, but it also had quite a wild ride over the year too, largely driven by the trade sentiment and also risk sentiment changes there too. Even if you look at the bond market, it provided a solid return over the year because, as I said earlier, central banks have been easing again, so they've been bringing down interest rates, and that meant that bond prices have increased over the year. But as central banks have reduced interest rates, we're seeing more and more government bond yields enter into negative territory. So negative interest rates will be a big theme for this year, I think.
Now let's turn our attention to Australia. Currently, we are experiencing devastating bushfires, which have had significant impact on the environment as well as across communities. Can you tell us more about what the economic implications are?
Yes, so the bushfires has been a very tragic event. There's, of course, the social impact on the loss of life, loss of homes, also the impact on the environment, and also just the impact on people's mental and physical health as well. The economic impact at this stage is hard to estimate just because the fires are ongoing.
Yeah.
But in terms of the direct channels of the economic impact, it includes, loss of businesses, loss of property. There's been an OECD report recently that showed that air pollution, and I guess you can put smoke haze into that, over major cities do have a material impact on economic activity as well. Of course, there's also the negative impact on business and consumer sentiment too. So there are a few channels where it could affect economic activity, and of course tourism too. But in response to the bushfires, the federal and the state governments have announced some support. The federal government's announced $2 billion over 2 years in commitments for the bushfires recovery. So there's some fiscal loosening, and potentially what we could see is that the federal government could use the bushfires as a reason to no longer prioritize their targeting of a budget surplus. And this fiscal loosening should be a benefit to the Australian economy, especially it's been something that the Reserve Bank of Australia has been calling for some time now.
Thank you very much for that update, Casey, and thank you for joining us.